Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Hassan. And yesterday at MIT, I attended the most amazing AI conference. It was called Imagination in Action. And there were some thousand people who attended. Some really big names were there, and a few on Zoom, including Sam Altman, who is OpenAI and ChatGPT, the phenomenon that everyone was talking about. And it was an amazing experience for me. I know John Werner of Link Ventures because he does TEDx Boston, and I've done 2 TEDx talks thanks to him. Is technology controlling our minds? And another one on how can I know if I've been brainwashed? And I really wanted to go to this conference because I wanted to understand more about what's coming down the pike with AI. And I got a very incredible education yesterday from some of the top people. One of them was Steve Wolfram of Wolfram Labs, a genius who I've heard speak many times over the decades, lives in Boston. And he's now linking ChatGPT to his platforms, his mathematical formulaic programs. And his insights were amazing and interesting. Not only was he on stage, but he also spoke later at the after reception. And we're living in a very unique time. And all I can say is that people need to realize how much our world and our earth are going to be changing through technology. It used to be 20 years, a generation before a new technology is adopted. ChatGPT became a worldwide phenomenon in 2 months. And I don't think we can ever put the genie back in the bottle. And right now, there are hundreds of tech startups using ChatGPT and exploring. And I certainly am very interested in this topic because I want to scale my lifelong work of 47 years of activism, and of course the 2.5 years in the Moonies cult. I want to scale my knowledge and my experience to as many people as I can worldwide. So I was very honored that John Werner, when he saw me, asked me to come to the front, and with 2 other people after one of the panels, basically said a few words about me, and I got to say a few words about what I was interested in doing. So it was easy for me from that point on because people were coming up to me who were interested in the topic of brainwashing and mind control, undue influence. And I got to meet some really fascinating, interesting people from many different perspectives. So what else do I want to say about this conference? Wow. We are needing to think about a change out of the world of where people would have a career and expect to have the same career and specialize in a particular topic area. And what is apparently more and more clear is that becoming more generalized, understanding philosophy, understanding English, understanding how different areas and topics interrelate to each other is going to become more and more valued. In other words, a more holistic approach to science, to the arts, to nature. And what is really, really clear is the largest hospital group in the New England area, Mass General Brigham. The CEO spoke and talked about a $2 billion budget to use AI to reformulate the entire medical industry to becoming more personalized and effective for each one of their people. This is really big. This is really important. I can also say that everybody expressed a worry about this being used by authoritarian powers, with explicitly naming China, because Western values, human rights, freedom of expression, women's rights, gay rights, indigenous rights, rule of law, are all not part of the Chinese system. And they clearly want to use AI to expand their version of control and dominance. So it's very interesting how important it will become to find ways to utilize AI in ethical ways that promote Western values. And I explicitly on the stage mentioned the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Because frankly, in the United States, we take this for granted, but we shouldn't. And right now, we're in a world of information warfare. If you've read The Cult of Trump, you understand what fourth generation warfare and fifth generation warfare is. And if you're not yet a reader of The Cult of Trump, you can certainly come to freedomofmind.com and put in fourth generation warfare in the search box and listen to some interviews that I did with a former naval intelligence expert and PhD from Stanford on this form of information warfare that's being waged on Americans from without as well as within through the Christian right and Paul Weyrich and William Lind, who, by the way, met Trump. Another thing that really stood out for me is that a number of people talked about trust and how in this world of information overload and disinformation and deep fakes and people able to use AI to capture somebody's voice and have them say whatever they want to make that voice sound say. That in this age where this technology has not been regulated, it's not our data privacy has not been protected by the American government, sadly here. Europe is doing much better than us. That the issue of trust is going to be more and more important. In other words, when we're getting all of this data thrown at us on the internet and wherever else, we need to be able to have people and institutions that are trustworthy, that have credentials, that have policies in place to ensure accuracy, veracity of information. And I've worked really hard to, in my 4 books, in all of my interviews, to be a trustworthy resource for people on the topic of undue influence, brainwashing, and mind control. And of course, I did my doctoral dissertation on the BITE model of authoritarian control, and am hoping that we can institute this in the law and criminalize brainwashing and mind control. One other topic that I want to mention is the use of hypnotic techniques and methodologies, specifically NLP, on the internet. And people are being preyed upon, Prey, preyed upon by bad actors who want power, money, sex, by the use of these technologies. So people need to understand, and I reference my interview with the Center for Humane Technology, and Tristan Harris and Asa Raskin's work, how hypnotic just being online and the technique that Asa invented, doom scrolling, much to his chagrin, it's become such a terrible thing in terms of sucking up people's attention, how we need to start using wisdom to really think about any technology that we're inventing, of not only how it can be helpful, but how it can be abused, and really think about, are there ways that we can build into the platform checks and balances that can help protect folks. So there's a lot of interest. There's billions of dollars of venture capital being invested into AI, and we know that Putin has said whoever gets AI developed faster is going to win the world, or China says that, but the folks here at this conference are definitely rooting for freedom, for Western values. And I'll also just say that we will be stronger together. And that means that we need to be very aware that AI is creating media silos based on our likes, our dislikes, our traffic, etc. We need to deliberately step back, unplug periodically, be back in our bodies, be part of nature. And we also need to deliberately look at information that's in other silos to, at the very least, understand the messaging that's being done to other people. And I want to say clearly that there's no such thing as free speech without responsibility to the community. And so I really am reaching out to everyone who's interested in the subject of freedom of mind to really step up. If you have a personal story to share, do it responsibly. And if you're interacting with people who are attacking you or whatever, they could be under mind control. I would predict many of them are. And don't reinforce their indoctrination that you're a bad person and that you're evil. I really definitely believe in respectful interaction with curiosity. And especially I want to encourage people to create trust pods amongst their family and friends, people who know them, not just know them on the internet, but know them in reality, in real life. And be in touch and make sure in your trust pod that you have people from different political persuasions, economic persuasions, different gender persuasions. You want to have a broader, more general perspective on what is real. So back to the conference, Imagination and Action, I'm just in awe of John Werner and all of his efforts. He just keeps pulling people together who are just stellar, and does one event after the next in order to bring people together to stimulate creativity and joint ventures together. I also want to say last night when he was talking, he did a whole overview of the history of Boston, the history of the telephone being invented in and even showed a map of where the starting place and ending place of Bell and Watson was. And he's making a very strong appeal for New England to be the hub for AI incubation of startups. And so it's a very exciting time. And I definitely want to encourage you, especially if you're a young person thinking about what jobs might exist in the future, start understanding more about the technology as it is and interact with people who are wanting to move it more fully forward. So thanks very much and take care.